And then the story number two. I give the title story number two is Longing on the Way Home. Morning in the village always come early. It was only 5 a.m. but the sound of chickens was already chirping, echoing from all directions. I woke up in a bit of a daze, trying to recognize the familiar sounds of the call to prayer from the small surah at the end of the alley, the cling of sponge from the kitchen, and the soft greeting of my mother cooking rice. I got up from my old bed that creaked softly when I moved it. My room was still the same as the last time I left, with walls full of old posters, a rightly bookshelf half filled with novels and high school textbooks, and old fan that sounded louder than the wine. Mom knocked on the door. Wake up, sons. We're going to the market to shop for eggs. I replied with an incorrect mumble, then quickly washed my face and changed my clothes. Today our plan was to go to the traditional market near my house. The market is crowded, smell of spices and meats, and the voices of merchants complete with the hubbub of buyers. The trip to the market, however, held a small surprise that I never expected. We set off on my motorbike and mom carries a large shopping bag that is usually using during Ramadan. On the way of the market, the majority of the village were also going to the markets. I watched their face from motorcycle eager to shops. My mother told me that as it approached, everyone in the village was eager to prepare everything for the feast day, and I just smiled as I listened. In the city, the topic is conversation of young people are more about college assignment, thesis, or complicated relationship. But here, everything feels simpler, more real when I reached the market. I got off my bike and started to enter the market. The distinctive smell of wet soil, left chickens, banana leaves, and the aroma of fruits from the side stalls. Mom went straight to her stall while she was busily hanging over prices. I stood at the edge of the market aisle, people watching. It was there that I met someone I never thought I'd see again. Oh, is this you? It's really you? I turned my head. A woman in the dark blue headscarf stood in the front of me. I hesitated at first glance, but her smile didn't change. I asked, Rina? She laughed. I still remember it too, Rina said. Rina was my junior high school friend. We used to be in the same group during class PK 3 or sit on the same bench in the math class. Since graduation, we never really communicated again. Only occasionally see her social media account name passed by on the timeline, without ever greeting each other. Where are you now? I asked, trying to keep it with his enthusiasm. And then Rina said, I'm working in shoe factory in Gresik City. I wanted to go to university, but I was chasing course. She said with a smile, then added, where did you study? I say, I'm studying in University 17 Agustus Surabaya, English Literature, I replied. She nodded slowly, her eyes blank for a moment, then sinning again, cool. Yes, you can go to college. I nodded, but I did not feel cool at all. In fact, at the moment I felt small. In front of me stood an old friend whose life paths might not be as beautiful as the dreams of adolescence, but who still smiled and worked upright. We talked for a few minutes. He didn't excuse himself because he had to rush the space stall where his mother was selling. Before leaving, she said, when you come home again, play at my house. It's still in the same village. I only had time to wear before she was floating among the market crowd. That brief encounter kept me silent for quite a while. Mom finished shopping and we decided to go home because she had too much luggage along the way. I couldn't stop thinking. Many things have changed, but many things have remained to the same. In the past, Rina and I sat in the same school, aspiring the same heights, but now we were different paths. Am I better than her? Not really. We're just different phases of life. And it's precisely that difference that makes me feel that this trip home is not just a matter of age, it's also about honoring the past. In the afternoon, I went to a small cafe shop near my house. I used to be hangout place for me and my friend in high school. Now the store is still the same, but the owner is different. I ordered black coffee and sat facing the village streets. Small children were running around, some with fans, firecrackers, others on decorated bicycle with twinkling lights. The sound of takbir began to be chanted from the mosque that was practicing. The village air broke a pace that could not be found in the city. From a distance, I saw the figure of Pak Sahid, my next neighbor who used to invite me to go fishing when I was a child. He saw me smile and waved. You home, Rizal? When did you come? I said, just this morning, sir, by motorcycle. Wow, your mom must be happy. The house is crowded again. I nodded and Mr. Said walked away. I felt like I was being welcomed by the title universe I had left behind. That evening, I sat with my mother in the living room. We arranged the pasta into jars. The mother told me a lot about neighbors who had moved house, who relatives in Sidoarjo were doing, and about father who, as you know, often moved afternoon listen. Did you talk him early? Mom asked quietly. I shook my head. Try make him later. He actually missed me. He just too prawns. I looked down. Mom whispered me softly. Between the cookie jars, the sun next incest. I began feel that this trip home was more than just a holiday. It was a beginning of healing the bed that I had lost, but from my family and from myself.